God is amazing and truth is truth. What time in the world did most people believe in God? Noah's time? Did they believe the prophets or did they kill them? Jesus' time? When in the world did most people believe in God? We live in an evil place where people take people's lives. Okay? They murder each other. Now, when is God's message? Whenever he brings a message, which is usually every 2,000 years, or people during that time. When do most people believe it? Is it not always the opposite of what people thought? Now, I get all the thoughts in the flesh. You think if somebody's going after the opposite, then they're trying to be opposite so that they can be something. It's like a persecution complex, But truth is still truth, regardless of how it twists after it comes out of somebody's mouth into your ears. So who is God? God is truth. All right, if there wasn't some fountainhead of truth, all right, we want to call truth God because truth is truth, right? People call God God. Everybody calls a God, But that's not the true God. There has to be a fountainhead of truth, or there couldn't be light and darkness. There would just be darkness. There couldn't be good or evil. There would just be evil. So there must be a fountainhead of truth. There's something out there that is true, and this is who God actually is. So what must we do to find God? Honesty, truth. If a person is being dishonest, do they have God? Of course not. You don't have God if you're being dishonest. Now the churches today, their Jesus is a manipulator. He's somebody who says this generation will not pass until all these things are fulfilled, but he was actually saying something coded that they couldn't understand. Today's Jesus, again, is a manipulator. They think that he spoke in parables, and they don't even understand what the parables were. Whenever the parables, now they change the word parable in their head to a riddle. It's not a riddle. It's the simplest thing in the world. It's you can't hear what I'm saying. All right, so let me put it to you a different way. Since you can't hear simple words because of your doctrine, not being mixed in faith of those who believed, right? Because of your doctrine, let me put it to you this way. Back then, everybody sowed seed. That's how you ate. So that's what he tried to tell them. He broke it down to simplicity. Now, Jesus knew the shape of the earth, but he never talked about it. Jesus knew about the pyramids, never talked about it. Jesus knew about DNA, never talked about it. He knew about bloodlines, never talked about it. He knew about how the earth was actually formed and what happened, never talked about it. He knew about the Father and all the ins and outs that nobody here on earth needed to know, and he never talked about it. Now, he was the smartest and most honest person that has ever lived because he was without sin. He didn't even have the same type of battle that we have. He was tempted in all points, but he couldn't act out sin because he wasn't born in an evil act like we are. I mean, today that act is not evil, but, there's no sin. Flesh doesn't matter. But you get what I'm saying. He had the most right to usurp himself and become more than any man ever was. But he didn't do it. He broke things down to the simplest level that a child could understand. Nothing else. He didn't spend his time in anything else. Except for what was detrimental, what was important, what was good for mankind. So how is everybody alive today better than Jesus? They know more mysteries than Jesus? No. But why didn't Jesus ever talk of any of them? Now, Jesus was also without sin. He had the most right to condemn everybody else, to usurp himself again, be above everybody else. I'm sinless, and I'm smarter than all of you. But he didn't do that. He forgave everybody. The person who had the most right to condemn everybody forgave everyone. The person who was sinless forgave everyone. But today, people who are full of the things that were called sin judge everybody else for the things that were called sin, while simultaneously rejecting everything that Jesus did, who was actually sinless, who came to end sin. In the Bible, people say that Jesus Christ spoke of hell more than anything else, or that he spoke of judgment more than anything else. Neither one of those are true. Jesus spoke of unity more than anything else, and for some reason, nobody's ever said this. So go read the Gospels again. Jesus spoke of unity more than anything else, and oneness, and everybody being one with one another. and them being one in him, and him being one in God, and all people saying the same things, because that is where truth actually is. If two people disagree, then there is a lie present. He spoke of unity. All those verses, the Sermon on the Mount, all those times about the hypocrisy, 90% of what Jesus said was about unity. Unity in lies? That's impossible. Unity in truth. It's impossible to have unity in a lie, because a lie is something that is the opposite of what is true. You cannot be in unity. So if somebody says unity, it's not two people agreeing in a lie, like, hey, let's both forge this story so our parents don't know what we actually did. Say that I'm staying the night at your house. You say that you're staying the night at my house, and then we'll go somewhere else. No, it's not that. That's not unity. The parents weren't in unison. Unity is not something that just a small group of people should do in a lie while leaving out other people. Unity is you should always work on getting people to your level. Not above, not below. Everybody should be in unity. And if we are not in unity, fear, because, like I said, in Noah's time, who was saved? Who believed the prophets? Who believed Jesus? Our bodies, whenever the sun shines, they cast a shadow. Why do they cast a shadow? Because they block light. The flesh is not where the truth is. It's inside. You can say, I love you, but actually hate someone. The truth is on the inside, and the unseen and the immeasurable. You can't weigh it. You can't measure it. So who is God, and what should we do? We should fear. I mean, fear. You're afraid of what your wife might think if you tell her the truth. You're afraid of what your husband might think if you tell him the truth. You're afraid of what your family might think, your job might think. But you're going to die anyway. You're going to lose everything anyway. You're going to lose the ability to even function in this flesh anyway, but your spirit is still going to be a kid. Your spirit is still going to be just as young as it ever was. I don't care if you're 90 years old. Your spirit feels like you've always known it. So, if we are not in unity, we should fear. What should our striving be for? Unity. Because unity can only come from truth, because a lie is a split from the truth. You see, lies do not exist. They don't. That's why whenever people go and they were liars, they don't exist anymore. Whenever they go to judgment, they don't exist anymore, because lies don't exist. Only truth exists. A lie is something that is a conglomeration of what is already made. It is trying to take something that is true and twisting it. You cannot have a lie unless truth exists. So if you want to exist beyond this spit of a realm, beyond this little shadow that you call life, where you want to do your shopping and you want to talk to this person and that person, you must desire unity. If you're not desiring unity, you're putting yourself above other people. You don't want them to be exactly where you are. You guys don't want the same thing because there's not truth there. And lies don't exist. That's why whenever people go to judgment that are liars, they don't exist anymore. So who are you and what are we? The world is almost always in darkness. And if we don't have complete unity, we should be scared. Okay? But I'm also not here to change the world. Neither are you, neither is anybody else. You're trying to change the world. You can't change the world. All right? This earth is a blip that sets in darkness. We are here to get people out of the world. Out of it. Because as long as this is your focus, we die. We die. Nothing that is good and pure can die. Lies cause evil, and evil causes death. If you don't want to die, you got to be honest. And now I'll tell you, what is honesty? Jesus said this generation will not pass. He meant it. They had a nation back then. Jesus pointed at that temple, not a future temple. Everything Jesus said happened within 40 years. It was the gospel of reconciliation to reconcile man back to God. What is reconciliation unless we were once with God and had fallen away? When did we fall? Whenever Satan and sin came. What did Jesus do? He appeared once in the end of the world to put away sin. And he ended sin. He made an end of sin, according to Daniel. And what happened with Satan? He defeated Satan. What happened with the grave? In the day that you eat of it, you will surely die. Now there's no grave. You can see a light whenever you die. Now God is judge. Because Satan brought sin into the world, Jesus Christ defeated Satan. Now is the judgment of this world, he said 2,000 years ago. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out. And he had but a short time. Sin brought death in the grave. Now there's no grave. Until heaven and earth passed away, until there was a new heaven and a new earth, talking about them being in New Jerusalem, a new land in heaven. And until he changed the covenant down here, heaven and earth did not pass until the jots and tittles passed from the law. Not one jot or tittle would pass from the law until all was fulfilled. That temple was destroyed. Jesus pointed at that temple. Jesus never prophesied anything else except for the destruction of Jerusalem, the wrath on the Jews whenever the Gentile armies came, the believers fleeing into the wilderness, and them being redeemed at the destruction of the temple. Nothing else. So does that mean that Jesus is nothing? No, Christians today are anti-Christ. They don't believe what Jesus did. They don't believe Romans 9:28, that he did a short work on the earth, delivered the kingdom back up to God, became subject to the Father. That's 1 Corinthians 15:24 through 28. And we should be honoring Jesus throughout all ages and throughout all time, because he ended sin, so now we have access to the Father. But instead we go with these wicked churches and we keep arguing about what wicked people brought to wicked people to argue with wicked people about wicked things. And we could all have beautiful lives. The problem is we judge one another for the flesh, and we're no better. So it makes us hypocrites. Sin is over. Enjoy your burger. Enjoy your pork. Enjoy what you drink. Enjoy whoever you're sleeping with. And enjoy your life. But you can't. Because that person that you're sleeping with wants you to be the only person. They are the best person in the world, the most beautiful. You should only sleep with them, and they'll kill you if you sleep with someone else. Even though they think about it. They've probably cheated. And they've lied to you a ton. What this world is a bunch of people protecting this life. They will lie to protect this flesh. Mine's older. Mine's got more wrinkles, right? I feel worse than I did whenever I was younger. What does that mean? I'm heading towards death. They call life in the flesh life, but it's not. The only thing inevitable is that whenever you're born in the flesh, you'll die. And you've only got like 100 years. You don't even know your great-great-grandfather's name. Life was important to him too. The companies that you worked for, they won't even exist. Everything you've ever done is going to turn to dust. So why not rather not get mad at somebody for looking at that or thinking about that or lusting about that? Don't get mad. Realize that your life is a shadow. There's billions of people in the world. And you think you're what? God is what? God is what is. God is truth. Tell the truth with one another. Don't condemn whenever you're no better. Don't be a hypocrite. God is not fine with hypocrites. You're not even fine with hypocrites, even though you are one. But God is sovereign truth. That is just absolute truth. Even if you say absolute, it's not right. Truth is truth. If you say absolute truth, that shows you that we're in a world where people manipulate truth. And you can't just say the word truth because they think it's some kind of false doctrine. Whenever truth is actually truth, and honesty is actually honesty. And God is actually God. I don't understand the lack of fear that people have for God and all the fear that they have for man. I'm afraid if I tell them that, I'll lose this. You wind up dead dust. All your clothes rot off. You're naked anyway. Everybody's constantly trying to cover up. They don't even understand that covering is what causes lust. It's what causes the evil. They don't understand that. God bless anybody that tells the truth. Sporadic video. Just a bunch of different proverbs of God, I guess. That's probably what I'll name it. God bless anybody who tells the truth. Christianity ended in 70 AD. Jesus was the greatest thing that ever happened, but he finished his work. Now we go directly to God. Jesus received a new name. Nobody knows if these churches took it over and did evil.